Folks, welcome to Metal Wani. With us today, we have legendary Dani Filth of Cradle of Filth. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing very well, thank you.
Just a week left for the release of the new Filth album, Hammer of the Wits. Now, you guys must be excited because the single is out. You made a video as well. So, what's been the response, and how's the band feeling amidst all these, different responses coming from fans?
Well, we've been ensconced in the studio for like 4 months
Mm-hmm.
at the beginning of the year,
Mm-hmm.
and it was very isolated,
Mm-hmm.
and we worked very hard. We had our noses to the grindstone,
Right.
and then suddenly, the first thing we did was come out and play a summer festival in the Philippines. I've done weeks and weeks of press. I've presented an award at Metal Hammer and Kerrang.
Right.
We just did Grass Pop and Hellfest.
Test. Mm-hmm.
And Grass Pop, it was with both my bands, Devilment and Cradle of Filth, on
True.
the same day. So it's suddenly very busy because there's a lot of interest. And fortunately, the album hasn't been illegally downloaded as yet.
Yes.
So the only people that really heard the whole record have been journalists. And
Absolutely.
they all seem to they seem to be very, very positive about it, saying it's the best release in 15 years. Well, I don't know about that, but yeah, I'm happy with it. And I think the whole band's very excited about not only the album coming out next week, because obviously we want everybody to hear that and the bonus material and
Mm-hmm.
see all the artwork and everything, but we've just announced a European tour with more dates about to be added.
Yes. In October, you'll be touring UK.
And Europe after that,
Yes.
and then South America,
Mhm.
then North America and Canada,
Wow.
and then some more dates in England, and then looking at Asia, Australasia, Japan.
Oh, fantastic. Now, you guys might have played few new tracks at Hellfest or Grass Pop, or, if yes, so how's the response from fans? Because when you guys were playing at Hellfest, I was busy, doing interviews, so I couldn't,
Yeah,
see
I
you
know,
guys
that's
live.
exactly. All the bands I went to see at Hellfest, I was either doing interviews or was playing or having a shower
Right.
whilst they were on. It's always the same. Um, no, they loved it. It was great. We've had a very good response to the first single, Right Wing of the Garden Triptych,
Mm-hmm.
which was the one we shot, like the full-blown sort of horror video too.
Right.
And the fans have had that for a few months now, and reaction to that's very strong. So they were very responsive when we played it.
Mhm.
When we go out on the European tour, we're looking at playing 2 to 3 tracks in the new album.
Awesome.
It's going to be really hard because we've got 2 really very good guitarists in the band now.
Right.
And basically we could play any of our material, and everybody wants to play this song or that song, and then we've got the songs that we're expected to play, the Ghosts and the Fogs and Cradle to Enslave, and then there's
Right.
ones we want to play, and so we're going to end up with set lists about 3 days long.
Absolutely. Now, the album itself is not so easy going. I mean, you guys follow a specific pattern for each songs, and there's a lot of it is going on. And at the same time, one has to use the imagination to fathom the flavors that lie within them. So, was this sort of an intention to not making it in an easygoing album for fans, or rather they should sit down, listen to it, and more like a journey from the first track till the end?
Yeah, totally. It's an utter journey. It's very cinematic.
Mhm.
It's equal parts brutality, melody, atmosphere.
Right.
We utilize a lot of orchestration,
Mm-hmm.
blast beats,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of twin guitar melodies, guitar solos, acoustic guitar. It is a very frenetic, cinematic album,
Right.
and it warrants repeated listens, definitely. I mean, that was the intention, to write something that had a very cinematic soundscape to it.
That's cool because the magical essence of Cradle of Filth, your old stuff is there, and also you guys have honed up with the new elements as well. Thus, it kind of feels that the perfect balance was maintained of keeping the legacy of the previous material, also the new sound which you guys have come up with.
Yeah, obviously, we're a band that's constantly evolving, and but we did want to we wanted to give someone, that kind of rush of listening to Cradle of Filth the first time. And I think new blood in the band has injected that sort of essence of the older style of Cradle of Filth. I think, the themes and the flavours of Cradle of Filth are quite marinated, definitely in this new record. We want it to feel like an old dangerous friend has come cool, but with something new up his sleeve.
Absolutely. Now, also, that amazing poetic display in your content when it comes to lyrics, and as always, the lengthy titles and the elaborative artwork. I mean, it's always like riding a train which has everyone in it, and everyone have different stories, different ways of looking at things. So, for you being a driving force behind the band, what makes you, come up with these amazing concepts?
Well, it all starts with the music, really. We usually get a nucleus of about 3 or 4 songs, pretty much, sort of 80% there. So
Right.
I've got something, I can't really tell with 1 or 2 songs. I've got to have a bit of a story going on,
True.
a bit of a flavour. And only when I got 3 or 4 songs did it inspire me, and I thought, okay, I've got some ideas that I'd written down a while ago that work really well with this. And basically it goes from there. You kind of build an album, and it becomes a magical thing that attracts certain emotions and certain ideas. And obviously we had this artist who worked on the album called Arthur Vodzinski. He's a Latvian contemporary artist who wanted to display the album in a very European sort of Renaissance style, very sort of religious icon-esque. And he gravitated towards the album through the album title,
Right.
and just did his spin on it. And one would be forgiven for thinking it was a concept record, because he's done such a brilliant job
Absolutely.
of bringing all the little dark fables I've written to life.
True.
And also, another thing about this album is that everybody in the band contributed in equal measures. So we actually wrote 3 songs that we had to drop from the album. There's 2 quite lengthy songs from the special edition, which are in no ways less quality or less production-wise than any of the other songs in the album. It's just that we had to choose 2 extra ones, aside from the bulk of the album. So be it. It was a special edition, wasn't acquiesced. But yeah, it's exciting for us at the moment, and I think the whole band are very much feeling that same way about the prospect of the release and the forthcoming tour.
Right. No, Richard and Ashok being, replaced, the veteran guitarist Paul and James, how have been their contribution to this? Like you said, it's everybody has been part of the songwriting. So in terms of you being the driving force, you've seen it all happening from day one when the band was started. What sort of contribution was made by Richard and Ashok?
Well, first of all, they replaced Paul and James because we undertook a co-headline tour with Behemoth across Europe at the beginning of 2014. And we knew already that Paul couldn't do it due to personal reasons whilst he was living in the States.
Right.
So we found Richard to replace him. And then close to the tour, James, who had been suffering from quite a severe neck injury, announced that he had to undergo major surgery to correct it, so that he wouldn't even be able to pick a guitar up, let alone, go on tour. So at the last minute, we managed to get Ashok via Masters, the drummer, because they played together. They both live in Brno in the Czech Republic. We call them the Czechmates. But yeah, because they both joined the band at the same time, and on that tour we were playing a lot of older material that had very rooted in the twin guitar harmony style. I think they both connected very well in the sort of same vein as Jeff Hanneman and Kerry King, or obviously Jeff Hanneman Rip, or Dave Murray and
Adrian Smith.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, they're perfectly in tandem, and I think that's really benefited the band that they joined both at the same time.
Right.
And they're both very prolifically good guitarists as well. So their contribution has been legendary.
That's cool. And the fantastic thing about the album is how you guys have put in those few instrumentals, which kind of serve almost like passages between chapters. I mean, it all goes.
Yeah, obviously, yeah. We want to be very cinematic. The band's very cinematic. You know, a lot of our influence comes from the cinema as well. You know, we're massive horror movie buff.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of how we see the album. You know, you have this kind of big, apocalyptic almost intro,
Right.
an overture.
Yes.
And also an outro, which is almost like the credits rolling, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And then the theme continues in the middle. It's, you know, we have this track, The Monstrous Sabbath, Something in the Coven, which serves as a prelude to the album title track,
Right.
but also as a sort of buffer between acts. You've got Act 1 and Act 2.
Yes, Act 2, right. How have you been working on your voice? Because when I listen to the album, it's
I've been
like,
working on my voice.
yeah, I mean, it's still impeccable. I mean, you don't show any signs of age. You don't show any signs of fatigue. It's still that insanely awesome Dani Filth, voice.
Well, thank you. The producer, Scott Atkins, who undertook the album, almost became like a seventh member.
Mm-hmm.
And we worked very closely with him, especially me, because being the only one close enough to the studio to be there every day.
Right.
Yeah, he was very sort of, because the album's very fast and eclectic and has reminiscences of the old Cradle. He wanted me to step up a little gear, go back and, restyle my voice to an older style, hit the notes, hit the very high notes as well.
Right.
So, yeah, he really pushed not only me, but pushed the band
Right.
as far as we could. So, also, when people said, "Oh, you've lost your voice," or something, you haven't lost the voice. It's about style and technique, and sometimes
Right.
you just want to, you want your voice to be heard in a different context.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think people will be very pleased with everything on this album. If they're fans of albums from like Cruelty to Beast through to Midian, through to Damnation in a Day.
Right. Amazing. Now, Danny, I don't know whether you recollect this or not. You guys once played in India and it was raining like hell. Do you have any memories of your gig here in India?
Yeah. Well, it wasn't actually raining the day. It might have rained in the morning, but it definitely rained the day before.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was great. I remember visiting the park
Bangalore.
where the show was happening. Yeah, in the morning, and there was nothing there, and came back for the sound check, and then people had built the stage out of bamboo. It was fantastic. We're very much looking forward to coming back to India. It's just we're waiting on an offer from a promoter. That's all. We'd love to come back again. We had a really, really great time. Unfortunately, we didn't manage to fit it into the Asian tour that we undertook a couple of years back, where we went to Taiwan and Singapore, and we weren't destined to go to China, but that got moved to Hong Kong. But yeah, with Taiwan, we did a lot of shows, but unfortunately none in India at that point.
Hopefully,
so, yeah, we'd love to come
now
back.
that the new album is coming out and your schedule for rest of the year is almost fixed, maybe next year there'll be a possibility.
Well,
of seeing you
next
guys.
next year's getting full as well. But yeah, if people want to see us in India, shout.
Definitely. Now, Danny, like in heavy metal, all of us, the fans and the musicians, it's always a bond between each other, and being, even the band members have that sort of brotherhood. But when something happens and then that sort of negativity comes into the picture, I mean, when I always go on Facebook, I always find, your development buddy, Daniel Finch, talking about you. And so, I mean, how does it get so bad when the members are not, it's like a family together and then one member goes off and it becomes really bad? I mean, what sort of feedback would you give, keeping the time in mind?
Well, I do. Things were very strange with that character. He left not only me, but the whole band just scratching their heads going, we don't understand what's going on. Yeah, it's very odd. I mean, it's the same. when you go to visit something like Blabbermouth,
Right.
and people are like bitching and moaning about, oh, they're shit, oh, I don't like those, you know. There's one thing, heavy metal boasts probably the biggest sort of fraternity and sorority. You know,
True.
it's very, it's very close. Everybody's very passionate about the music, but it's also one of the most sort of contentious and bitchy genres as well, where I've never known anybody to bitch about other bands more than in the metal. So
Right.
it can be ridiculous, but try and ignore that. There's too many good things, you know.
Right.
Over the years, so many people have either love or hate Cradle of Filth. Fortunately, we've got enough people that love Cradle of Filth to ignore all the rest.
Yeah,
And in
definitely.
the case of that Daniel Finch character, I mean, he made a terrible mistake in his life, leaving a band that were doing very well without telling anybody else. And you know, in the end, the only person that's going to suffer is him, because we're continuing with
Yeah.
writing a new album. Just Devilment have just shot a video for Sanity Hits Perfect Zero, which will come out August the 20th after the release of the Cradle album.
Awesome.
So we're gonna carry on. We played a festival with Cradle of Filth the other day.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be doing a couple of more shows with
Together.
Cradle of Filth later in the year.
Right. That's
So
awesome.
it's all good.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's all
definitely.
good.
Definitely. Danny, so before I conclude, how about you define Hammer of the Wits in your own style in just one sentence?
It is fucking awesome.
Definitely it is. Wow. Thank you so much, folks.
Hardly poetic, I know. Hardly poetic. But
Absolutely.
I want it to be apt.
Definitely. Folks, Hammer of the Wits coming out next week via Nuclear Blast. Grab the copy, pre-order, do whatever the hell you can, but buy it. It's definitely worth keeping it.
Cool,
Dani
thank you.
Filth.